Welcome to The Lift with Sheila Robinson Kiss. Come on in. There's always a special place set aside for you here where you can relax, kick up your heels, pour yourself a nice, refreshing drink, and prepare to be lifted and soar. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, and welcome back to the channel, The Lift. We've got it all here, everyone. Mental health, movement, motivation, and the best relationship advice around. So if you're loving what I'm doing, please don't forget to subscribe and share the news of the channel with your friends and family. We're going to dive right in today. I got a letter, and this is a topic that I've tackled before, but it's certainly worthy of let's say another honorable mention. I want to talk about relationships, quite frankly, that drain us, and three ways that you can support yourself. I mean, we all have been in these positions, or maybe you've been the one in hindsight who has been draining to another person. So I want you to lean in because I have some really, I think is very grounding and practical advice for you today and things to think about in terms of your mental health, the quality of your life, and relationships. So here we go. This letter requests to stay anonymous. So here it is. Dear Sheila, I have become a huge fan of your channel. I'm in a relationship 4 years now, and I'm so drained. This woman, and please know I do love her, but she is so insecure and sad all the time. I feel like I've become more of a psychiatrist than a boyfriend. I find myself enjoying conversations with female colleagues more and more because it's light and fun. I've asked her to get help, and so far she's content to bitch and moan to me all weekend long. Help. I don't know how much longer I can hang. Well, let me say this to you. You've come to the right place. I do have some words of wisdom for you and anyone else who you find that you are in a friendship, a relationship, a family member where you're chronically drained. Just lean in because this message is especially for you. A relationship can drain us for a variety of reasons. Sometimes we're drained because we're just overgiving. Simple as that. We're literally just have positioned ourselves where we're giving too much and there's just not a lot coming back. Other times you will find yourself drained in a relationship because you are dealing with someone who is chronically out of balance and you have taken on the role of a caregiver, if you will. And then I would say a third reason is there's conflict. The relationship, it can't settle, and you've heard me talk about this on the channel before, that is just so draining when you can't hit the good in the relationship or the homeostasis. It could be a friendship, a family member. You just can't get to that settled feeling, so that can be draining too. The process of dealing with a conflict, as well as, you're constantly being in a state of, I have to fix this. I have to repair. It's that chronic reach, and I can't get it, and they're not good enough, and I'm not good enough. So those are some of the reasons. There's more, but those are some common reasons that I've discovered in my years of practice and taking this personal walk and journey in life as well. So I want to give you three very specific things to think about and ways that you can support yourself if you find yourself in these set of circumstances. I want to reference on the end cap of this video, you will see two titles. One is How to Stop Being an Emotional Tampon, and then the other one is called I Am the Problem. I really want you to supplement this message with those videos because in there you will find a common theme. particularly the video I Am the Problem, is really all about the power of just taking ownership. Just, not playing games, not looking outside of yourself. Because at the end of the day, yes, the relationship is draining, but you have to stop. And it's really easy to point the finger. As they say, you point a finger, there's a couple fingers pointing back at you. The question becomes, what is it, what am I doing that ultimately I am giving the permission? This is happening to me because on a very real level, I am allowing this to happen. There was a point in time when I just was not as far along as I am in this work. I call it the come to Jesus work that we do to heal and liberate ourselves. And I can just remember having a cluster. It wasn't just one person, it was a cluster of people, a small cluster, about four, five, depending, because there was one. It was kind of this on again, off again, and I was drained. I was chronically drained by all of these relationships. And it was that point in time that I really took a much a closer, more sincere look at myself and how I was managing my life and my relationships. And this is when, you reached a point where you hold up your hand and it's like, you know what? I I'm the common denominator here. And the reality was, as I looked at myself deeper, I had to admit that within me there were deficits that need to be worked out so I could set appropriate boundaries and really cut this nonsense out. I was entered. I wasn't happy about it. It felt very much like I was being pulled along into this stuff, and I was hurt by it, and it just wasn't a good feeling spiritually, mentally, physically, any of that. But at the end of the day, we are the gatekeepers and we are the guards, if you will, of the front door of our lives. So the first place to start is with self. And after you've kind of, created a warm, soft chair with some nice hot tea, after you've done that, then step two really is to ask yourself a couple very critical questions. And one of those is, what am I afraid of here? This is being held in place. What am I afraid of, and what is it costing me? Again, what am I afraid of in this situation, and what is it costing me? I had a dad to reach out to me some years ago, and he said, Sheila, I am so this my adult child, my adult daughter. I mean, I have helped her, I have supported her. I might as well be an ATM machine right now. She's not the most warm and fuzzy person. I'm drained by her attitude, I'm drained by her constant requests, and yet, just like habitually, I just keep going in my pocket. And he was just kind of, squirming and really squirming around answering that question. And I had to ask it multiple times in different ways. And finally, we just got down to the nitty gritty that he was allowing it because that was his only child. He felt, would she turn on me, which she had threatened many times. By the way, that's manipulation 101. And he really had to look at the core reasons why he was keeping this in place. And I have to tell you, if you're really going to go deep into this work, you don't just ask yourself the questions. The next step to that is to play it out. Okay, in that instance, he would say, okay, well, let's say that she does. Let's say that I am cut off and she turns away from me. Realistically, how long do you think that's going to last? Because who all does she have in her corner? Secondly, the fear is, oh my God, she's going to be angry with me. Again, that's something that you have to resolve within yourself because you are uncomfortable. Her anger is not your problem unless you make it your problem. So this is how we end up in these situations where we are drained. 9 times out of 10, someone has presented you with an issue or a problem, and you've taken it on as your own. That was the case. Literally, I lived through that. That was the case with me. And again, that is something that you have to sit with yourself and start asking some key questions. Why am I doing it? I had this person, she was in that cluster of people that I was saying you would get on the phone and just extended, lengthy, these long, drawn out conversations, which were completely imbalanced, by the way, about her issues, her this was not a client. This was not a client. This was a friend, and I'll use the word in quotes. And it's just like, what is this? Sheila, what in the hell are you doing? That reciprocity was not there. And it's something I really had to sort out. And I will tell you, that type of stuff, that does not happen anymore. And that's the power of introspection. As I say, this work is good work, it's juicy work, and it's work that pays you back. If a relationship is, and I don't just say this for me, this is certainly my golden rule, and I hope that as you're hearing it, it's yours. And if it's not, you will begin to cultivate it. If it's not mutually uplifting and satisfying, and there's a benefit, that's not to say everything is peaches and cream 24 hours a day, but that's just to say this is in balance and I'm getting something out of it. I mean, if I'm going to sit on the phone, quite frankly, for more than 10-15 minutes with anyone, my work, that's a different story. People are coming to me for a specific reason, and I'm well paid for that work. That said, what am I doing allowing myself to be that emotional tampon? So you really have to look at it from a holistic perspective. It's a cost benefit analysis. And it's so deeply personal, because only you can really decide when you've reached the point where something is just, woefully out of balance and you're drained. And that really requires just sitting down and being honest with yourself. Everything, I mean, the name of my company, Rebalancing America and Beyond, I chose that name because everything is, it's about balance. Balance is the work of a good life. And you will see when relationships are kept in balance, families, communities, corporations, when there's balance, there's harmony. And when you're out of balance, that's a different story. And also going back to the top of the video when I said relationships that are chronically, you're chronically in conflict. It just can't get to the joy and happiness. I know people who have been in this stuff for years and they're still in it and kind of slugging it out and roughing it out. But I have to say, at some point, the critical analysis could be applied there too, where you're asking yourself, what is this costing me? What is this costing me, and what am I afraid of? I was recently sitting with a gentleman, and he said, Sheila, he was preparing to exit a relationship. He said, I really sat down with a pen and piece of paper, and I was trying as closely as I could to approximate the sad days that I've shared with this person, like the days where we just lost a whole day to conflict and to being angry with one another. And the number, like, I literally looked at the number and I had to go. I took a dinner break and I was just so shaken. I just had to sit there and say, oh, this is what this has cost me. He said, just seeing the number help propel me into the choice that I'm making. So you guys, I'm really big on, qualitative data is fine, but the quantitative data, to look at the number, get a pen and a piece of paper out, start doing some mathematical equations, put that in there and see what you get, because sometimes you can see how these patterns just eat up your life, and it will be stunning, and it can really prompt you into a new elevated direction. Lastly, the third piece I really want you to think about, and you heard me say this a few weeks ago, I share the advice as best as I can, and I'm always coming at you and to you from the perspective of what is going to be healthy, whole, uplifting, righteous for your life, certainly as you define it. And again, Corinthians 14:33, God is not the author. God is not the author of confusion, where there's just a lot of confusion, there's emotional tugs. That's where we got to stop and take a second look. So, the third piece of advice is if for your own reasons you decide you're going to keep this kind of draining pattern in place, and some people do, I think, despite knowing intellectually, people will have other reasons that they want to keep these patterns in place. By all means, and for the sake of self-care and self-preservation, you have to have at least two or three things in your life that can serve as escape pads, where you can completely just block it out, regenerate, recharge, because it will break you down. It will literally break you down. And I'm just of the belief that we are here as our fathers, the creator of all creation, as these divine beings. We are intended to live our lives lifted and whole and well, particularly when that choice and that option is is right in front of us. It's right in front of us. So I say that if you're going to keep a situation or relationship like this in place, you're really gonna have to say, you know what, I must have my breaks. I have to have the ability to step away, to shut this down, just for my own long range sanity. So, bringing everything full circle, life is no fun when you're drained. If we are giving energy, life sustaining energy, or our time, our compassion, whatever the case may be, and healthy relationships and healthy exchanges, that energy is replenished and it flows back through. Where there's no flow, I mean, just look at the flow. If you're constantly pumping out and flowing out and there's no good flow and fresh air coming back at you, that's time to stop. I mean, honestly, I look at the flow. I talk to my little one Sophie all the time. I'm like, sweetheart, she's only 8 years old, but I talk about this. I put it in age appropriate terms. I say, it's like ball. If you throw the ball and it doesn't come back to you, you're not playing ball then. I know you're a sweetheart, and hey, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And she's so sensitive, but I'm telling her, sweet, it seemed like that you're tired. This little friend is making you tired. You're sad all the time. So we gotta get in with this and not, turn away from the realities. That's really what this work is all about. I want you lifted. I want you well. I will be back soon with some more encouraging and inspirational videos. Again, if you are loving what I'm doing, please don't forget to subscribe and share the news of the channel with your friends and family. It has been phenomenal. I'll see you soon.